Right. So the Oscars, they were interesting. Amy Schumer was hilarious. She was really funny. I didn't think Regina Hall and Wanda, I can't remember her name, sorry. Wanda something. I didn't think they were funny. Like, it was kind of like, wow, like, this is cringe. But what I liked about having three hosts, which I thought it was a different approach and it was interesting, but it almost was like a podcast, especially in the beginning. They were all talking and almost giving their critiques on the audience, and it was quite interesting. It was a different dynamic, and I think that they're trying to tap into sort of that podcasty kind of vibe at the Oscars, but they were doing it live. The only thing is that I feel like Regina Hall's humor is just different. It doesn't fit for like hosting. And you could see that in the way that like she had a few moments that were funny, but I don't know. I think it's a little too goofy, and less sort of like stand up comedy, right? And I think Wanda she kind of helped out a little bit where Regina was lacking, but it was Amy Schumer that was, to me, that was making me crack up. And it's funny because I think in the past there was, well, actually, it was somebody against Amy Schumer. I can't remember what it was. If I find it, I'll put it up. But everyone was like, this person is obviously way funnier. Oh, I can't remember who it was, but the person was funnier than Amy Schumer. But in this specific instance, Amy carried this show. Like, she was hilarious. Definitely had me screaming, cracking up. And I thought it was like kind of a shame. Yes, I'm sure you guys saw the other video when I talked about the Will Smith moment. Whew. But we're going to move on. Either way, interesting wins this year. This year was all about inclusion, diversity, and they really made sure they left no stone unturned, right? They really made sure that they were inclusive in every way, shape, and form, from like people with disabilities, women, Black people, people of color, all of that. And I know that a lot of people are going to watch this. It's always like the people that have been in privilege, they're going to watch this and they're going to say, oh my God, they're just giving them the award because he's disabled, or they're only giving it to her because she's a woman. I know they're going to be people that are going to say that. And I think it's funny because it kind of reminds me of when, like, it reminds me of affirmative action. It reminds me of like when we're applying to university and there's a quota, like literally a small quota for Black students. And they're like, oh, you only got into this like new Ivy League because you're Black, that's kind of like the energy, like, which is like, no, because most of the people that get into this school are white. You didn't get in because you're incompetent. It's just a fact. You didn't get in because now they're actually giving everyone else a chance. Everyone, not just only white men. So I think that's kind of it. Like, that's my point. Like, I feel like this was definitely about inclusion, and it was about, let's look at the whole spectrum. Let's look at what is out. And I love it. And it wasn't just about, they really like approached diversity from a different spectrum where I wouldn't even have seen or thought about it. Like LGBTQIA plus, people of color who are LGBTQIA plus, Afro Latina. She had, what's her name? She had like a multi hyphenate. She was a multi, marginalized person. What do they call it? Intersectionality? That's the word. Multi intersectionality is there, like Afro Latina, Black, or half Black, queer, female. Like, whoa, she has so many. And I saw the movie and she did an amazing job. She did an amazing job in West Side Story. I think she even did better than, Anita in the original was really good too. But she did an amazing job and she really deserved that Oscar. She stood out compared to everyone else in that movie. To be honest, I didn't watch a lot of these Oscar movies this year, but it makes me want to go and watch them to see what all the hype is about. Of course, we have to talk about Beyonce's performance in the beginning. Beyonce just serving everything, the colors, no, I understand, it's not even colors, it's the color, the lighting, the brightness, the singing, the performance. Beyonce was just giving. She's just always giving. I love the horse in the beginning. Beyonce is just so different. She's always giving. And then she shows up at the award. I know a lot of people are going to be upset that she didn't win. To be honest, I didn't hear the Billie Eilish song. I haven't heard it. A lot of people are going to be upset. But I kind of feel like Beyonce's been doing this for a long time. But she's been doing this for a while. Like, it's somebody else's turn. If people felt like Billie Eilish deserved it, maybe, but I know the Beehive's gonna go crazy over this. Like, how dare they give it to Billie Eilish? Da 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 da. And Beyonce normally doesn't agree to show up to things unless it's confirmed that she's won. But with the Oscars, I guess it's more like prestigious than any other award show. Literally. Maybe yes, and the Grammys too. I guess the Grammys and the Oscars. So they're kind of like, no, we decide. You can't do that this time. But either way, great show, interesting stuff. Let me know your thoughts. It's very interesting how the Oscars losing ratings, and it's not just the Oscars. To be honest, most award shows these days, it's like you hear most award shows these days. I don't even know it's coming. I hear about it the day after because like everybody's talking about it. And you see the performances on social media. So like most award shows are declining. So I mean, I understand that the Oscars are trying to, capture people's viewership more. And because of COVID, fewer people were watching films in 2020, like watching like theater releases. They were stuck on Netflix. And it's like they're trying to pull people back into the theater game, the movie theater game. And I think it's going to work. Like I am now encouraged to go to the movies again. I think last year, 2021, I went once. 2020, I went before COVID. But yeah, so they're trying to pull people back in the movie theaters, and let's see if it happens. We don't know, but I think it's definitely a new time. If it's not on Hulu, if it's not on HBO Max, which most of these movies have been on available on streaming platforms, but I don't know how well the movie game is going to go because there's so many movies I hadn't even heard of them. I thought it was crazy that I hadn't even heard of any of these movies. And I'm a filmmaker. It just shows you that like we're in a digital space. I tend to be an early adopter. I tend to move with the times and where the energy is flowing. And for me in the media space, cinematic films have just not been popping unless they're on Netflix. Sometimes Hulu, it just hasn't, or they have like a superstar lead in it. Like I didn't even get any energy around the Spider-Man movie. I barely saw any ads. Normally it's like super hype, but that's like a Marvel movie, and I wasn't even aware of it. I don't think I've even seen a trailer, and I'm like, but that's just me. Like I know different people are different. If people are super Marvel mega fans, I'm sure they get it in their feed. But I heard about it a few times, but it wasn't like I wasn't engrossed with the ads and the commercials the same way as like the Will Smith TV show. Bel Air, the way that has been marketed everywhere, and like you cannot ignore the fact that is coming out or when that came out. I just feel like films haven't been marketed like that, the way that streamers are marketing series, and it's very clear to me that I hope it's not. I don't think it could ever be a dying medium. I don't think it could be. I just think that filmmakers and the culture around film is going to have to adapt and keep it relevant with the times, the same way that music had to figure out a way to adapt to, the early 2000s downloading music era, right? With LimeWire and all those things, with the internet and stuff, they had to figure out a way to navigate that and still monetize it. I think the film industry has to really sit down and figure out a strategy to stay relevant. Because even though like Netflix may not have the absolute best, but I think it's like passable and people will just accept it. And not just Netflix, so many other platforms. Hulu's great, Peacock is great, HBO Max is great. But are people really watching these movies? Because like there's so much emphasis on this being like a blockbuster movie. You want to watch it in the movie theater, but you're not going to take the time to go out and watch it in the movie theater. So part of that culture of accepting that these movies don't have to be watched in the best setting and like actually like marketing that to the audience, making people understand the convenience and just watch it as it is and not necessarily enjoy the art of film, like the promotion of that. And I know I'm a filmmaker and I know the blasphemy, it sounds crazy, but you have to, customer is always right. You have to be a customer centric. And what does a customer want? They don't want to go all the way to the movies to watch a movie. So you just have to convince them, guys, if you want to stay relevant and get people to buy your stuff, just have to convince them, just watch the movie however you want to watch it. And that's okay. And stop over glorifying the art of the film without losing the quality as well. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. My name is Kenim, and see you next time. Peace.